Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm really excited to bring you my new friend, Brian Perry of Health-Pro Realty Group. So, very interesting story here, how we met. I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn, but if there's somebody out there who's really killing it on LinkedIn, it's this dude that you're going to hear from today. So I was trolling, I guess, trolling on LinkedIn, and I see this guy who's like doing these videos, and they're very real, and I'm very attracted to real and authentic. And I just thought, and he's a veteran. I was like, who is this guy? He's in the medical space. I really need to know who he is. So we had some, I think, engagement on LinkedIn, and then we set up a one-on-one through Zoom because we embrace technology. And from there now, it's my friend Brian. So welcome to the show, friend.
Thank you, other friend Sharon, for having me.
It's so cool that we've never met in person, but Brian has been to an event that I did, Meet the Neighbors, recently. What did you think about that?
I am a hardcore extrovert, so anytime I get to talk to people, meet new people, I actually want to reach out to some of them because I saw that you had sent out the list. So that's exciting for me because I love connecting on LinkedIn like you do too.
Yeah, and you really do a great job of it. So I have been talking about a lot of mental health and healing through COVID. I started this show back in March,
Mm.
and I'm really excited to get back a little bit to talking about business. So I think you're the perfect person to have that chat with today.
I also love mental health and fitness.
Who doesn't?
That's my favorite thing in the world, other than, of course, healthcare and talking business as the
Well,
capital
good.
is my
Good.
name.
Then let's start with that because so it's Friday that everybody is watching this.
Ah,
Um,
yes.
yes, isn't it? It's a great Friday. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And
Yeah.
I was just telling Brian that I drink this anti-aging because I just got off of this is just vitamins and wonderful antioxidants that
Mm.
I can ingest through my metal cup because I'm all about wellness and trying to remain sustainable as much as
Mm.
possible. And I just got off of riding my bike over the bridge. So Brian, let's talk about that first. Let's talk about how you keep yourself healthy. I'd love to hear about that.
Well, I've gotten unhealthy like many other people, especially after the military. It was kind of hard. You go through this funk of transition, probably just like a job, anything. You're like, okay, I'm this person, now I'm a new person. I gained a significant amount of weight, and I was like, oh boy, this is not the Brian I want other people to see. They
Mhm.
need to see the strong leader type. So for me, the best thing for myself and my mental health was to find a group. And fortunately, I was in New York City.
Yeah.
So not everybody has that luxury. But for me, I had a veteran group. I met some really good leaders, even better leaders that I had in the Army, actually leading a nonprofit to get people in the community and veterans together. So we're not like weird people who don't know how to talk to each other.
Right.
And the whole goal was mental health through fitness. And
Mm.
I really took to that because my mental health is, if I'm in shape and feeling good, I don't have anxiety. I don't have all those things happen to me where you're like waking up at night, like, oh my God, what is happening? What am I doing? So from there, I ended up doing a leader fellowship with Team Red, White, and Blue,
Mm.
um,
I love that.
which is my zone of leadership. Like I like to be like out front. So I liked getting people to feel good, lose weight, even older veterans from Vietnam and everything. I befriended them, met a whole new circle of people.
Mm.
And that's really how I kind of evolved, my fitness over the past 10 years. And then of course I did the Boston Marathon, I did an Ironman triathlon, and
That's amazing. You did the Boston Marathon.
that
Congratulations.
was the coolest thing ever. So and
Holy.
it's a big goal, and it was a challenge to me. Yeah. So, and I mean, there was nothing, even though it was a rainy kind of day at the end, there's nothing like hearing people in the crowd cheering, because
Mm.
who gets cheered on?
Right,
Like, you just
right.
don't, people don't really cheer us when you're running, 3 miles right at the end of your bike ride or something.
Nobody was cheering for me going over the bridge today.
And there's so many, and those races that we can't do this year, it's so disappointing for a lot of people, because I know that keeps them regimented, keeps them disciplined, and is really something that helps them mentally and in their job.
Yeah. So. I love this topic of discipline that we didn't know we were going to come up with.
I'm sorry.
No, it's great. I'm very happy to talk about this. This has been my, I'm a very disciplined person, but I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic. I can talk about it all the time, 26 years sober. And I had no discipline in my life before I joined this way of recovery. And I too had struggled with weight. And at a certain point in my late 20s, I just made that decision that I was going to get healthy. I started playing softball. I started doing all the things I loved doing as a kid, and got really, really just back into sports. And kind of, it's been this journey, right, of mostly like always fitness. But I think COVID, I hit like a little bit of a wall, not with fitness, but with eating. So the discipline for me has been really, I always try to talk about how I don't say to people, I get up at 5 a.m. and I work out and then I meditate to brag. I tell them this so they understand that this is what I have to do for my mental health.
Right. Because it is odd, right? Because I don't like to talk about, sometimes I'll bring it up when I'm joking with people, or I'll tell them what I like to do. But I never want to push, like you said, my habits. That's my addictive personality, where I like to do things a certain way. I don't expect you to like that, but I'm never the guy that's going to stay up late at night watching like Netflix for 7 hours till 3 a.m, because then my schedule goes crazy.
So what is your schedule? I'm interested. Tell me about a typical day for Brian Perry.
Typical day. Well, I really nerd out here, but I found this fitness group called Orange Theory.
Yeah.
And I needed group fitness. All right. I don't do well anymore, even though I did an Ironman training, which is a lot of running, swimming, and all that. But obviously I'm not in that zone of doing that, but I need to feed off the energy. So Orange Theory, I've been going at 6:15 in the morning. That's about an hour workout, 6:15 to 7:15. Then I, do all my normal stuff, get a smoothie, and I'm going to go into the office. I always have my calendar book there because I'm always panicked about missing an appointment or something with someone. So I still write everything down. I'm still working on that digital to transfer, because I have a CRM that I'm working in, which I'm sure most people have that. But then I'm either going into the office, or I'm planning, like yesterday I went on a tour of a medical building that I'm being a part of listing, not the main person, because it's like a huge product, or it's a huge project. But mostly I'm either coming into the office, or I'm planning the tours with doctors or the corporate real estate guys, or talking to the construction manager. But if I have the morning right, if I, get up, do the breakfast, get into the office by 8 or 9, because those are premium hours. I can't not be making calls or talking to people, because you're not with doctors and everything, maybe that 5 to 7 after. But almost all of my calls are either in the morning or, after 4:30. So if I want to do other things between that time, schedule things, that's that meat part of the day between like 9 and 2.
And what about your nutrition?
I go get a smoothie. Either I have a Vitamix blender, so I mix that up with I can't make a really good smoothie. So I throw kale, banana, maybe chia seeds, enough water so I can choke everything down. But that's usually, the smoothie is the big thing in the morning. I try to do that regularly, or go to Smoothie King. And then for lunch is probably a bigger meal. What's that saying? You eat less at night, something like that. I try to eat a bigger lunch and then a little less at night. Doesn't always work, depending on levels of stress of the day, or if I have to stay late. Because I am a workaholic. I can be.
Yeah.
So I have to watch that.
Yeah. I mean, so I think that that's really important that we recognize that we can, well, I'll speak for myself. I can be addicted to anything. I've been addicted to Tic Tacs, I can, and I really get like obsessive about things, and work has certainly been at the top for me. And I've had to really hone it in a little bit more, especially during this time, to be more gentle on myself. Although I know for me, I'm at my best when I'm stressed.
Right.
Stressed with a lot of work, and because it keeps my mind occupied. Let me ask you about your sleep habits. What time are you in bed by?
Well, what do I sometimes? Well, I try. The normal ideal is 9 to 11 would be that real window. What's that? But sometimes I have to take that pill that's supposed to be non-addicting. What is it called? Melatonin, right.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to take that at night. That helps me, and I've gone off it. But between that 9 to 11, I'm good. I need about 7 hours.
Yeah. So sleep is very important to you as well. Good.
Sleep, yes. Especially if you work out quite a bit too, because you don't want to wake up and everything's like, if you don't sleep, everything just seems like it takes a lot longer. Your communication, it just nothing comes out as good.
So you've been out of the military now how long?
Forever. My official discharge was 2012. But my last deployment was 2008, 2009. And normally I probably would have stayed in. It just became like, what next? You already deployed me twice, did about 7 years. I wanted to move on to other things. I didn't quite know what that other thing was. But like you probably know, any career, if you don't have good mentorship, which I don't feel the mentors I had in the military were very good, you're not going to stay and do that. So
I'm blessed to have been able to work with a nice group of veterans here in Tampa Bay. Hillsborough Community College does a veteran entrepreneurship program that I get asked to speak at very often, which I love, love, love. And because I've done a lot of hiring and recruiting through the years, I've always been so happy to see veteran for many reasons, for obvious reasons, for what you've done for our country. I'm so grateful. The world should be so grateful. But I also see this, what we're talking about, this discipline and this kind of regimen that you have. Do you think that you had that before you went into the military, or is that something that just happened while you were?
I think I had it in me. Like I always wanted to, but I didn't have my own identity in terms of like, who is Brian Perry to the world? I was just like, 20. You're like, okay, so I'll go to college, I'll make some friends and do this. But my dad was in the Marines, and I don't know how I didn't end up going into the Marines. I feel like that was my brain, but he talked me into going into the National Guard, and basically it was good for me. Like I got recognized as a person for the first time in the military. Like, hey, Brian, you're pretty good at this. So sorry.
Okay. We get calls during Zoom. It's all good.
So when we were getting off the bus the first time, everybody's standing in a circle. And this was before officer candidate school, but I was like, one of the drill sergeants says, "You're pretty high speed, aren't you, Perry?" I was like, wow, what a nice compliment at getting off the bus at basic training when they're about to torture you, right? So I got recognized early. My confidence was starting to build up. And then when I became an officer, I was also, somebody recommended me to do it. So it really was getting my confidence up. So when I talk about the military, and, some people are like, have different feelings about it. For me personally, and everybody's different. Not everybody in the military has my personality. But for me, it was the best thing that I could do to get me regimented, because even in my career, when I got off regiment, my health went down. I didn't feel I was struggling to find a mentor in finance that had my, eagerness to say, hey, what's the path to go? But now I feel really good because all of that has been even my MBA, going to get that. I've just been a wild man.
Yeah, you are a wild man. You're so, I saw the leadership in you right away, which is just not common. And I think that being able to be structured and disciplined and organized makes you certainly better at whatever business you're in, because the organization and the structure and the discipline is going to allow you to do so many more things during the day than the average bear, right? I mean, when you get up so early, when you've taken care of your health, when you've taken care of your nutrition, when you're getting good sleep, it all parlays into how you run business. I mean, that's just the truth. I never knew that either, and I certainly don't push that down anybody's. I talk about it a lot because I think it's important. I think that, there's a reason. I've heard many people say through the years, I'm sure you've heard similar, that Sharon is one of the most hardworking people in the world. And it's like a big compliment to me, because I wasn't always, a really great gal, and I feel like there was a lot of people out there that helped me. So helping others is a big piece of what I get to do every day. So I want to talk about what you're doing now, Brian. So how did you end up in Health-Pro Realty Group? How did you segue in your life?
Weird stroke of luck, because I really was taking a chance, because I had just bought a place in New Jersey, which I'm selling. I just came down to Virginia, Maryland area in January. So I was coming here to do this work pre-pandemic, but I had found him. There's a veteran recruiting group that sends me an email about jobs I might be interested in. And I saw commercial real estate, Health-Pro Realty Group. I had never heard of Health-Pro Realty Group because it's local generally to the DMV. And now we're doing other things, expanding, which is really fun. But I was like, okay, commercial real estate, I kind of seems my personality a little bit. And I had read some about it and thought about it in the past. Came down for a couple interviews at my boss's house, met him and his wife, and I just found them to be really a wonderful combination of people. Because when it's a family business, you're always like, okay, how does everybody interact with each other? And how am I going to fit in? And how will I develop? Will this be like something I can do for a long time? And when I met them, everything kind of clicked. They told me about how it was going to be. Obviously, before Corona, you're like not thinking that you're going to have delays, full speed ahead. But anytime you're starting something new, to expect you're just going to make a ton of money when you need to build relationships, you need people to trust you, it's just going to take time. And it's really evolved to where I feel so good about the next year that I'm selling my place. A couple of deals are closing. I closed a couple during COVID, and I'm just excited. And if you're not excited about what you're doing, because I was never committed. If I'm not committed, you probably don't want me there, because I'll be silent. I won't be engaged. I won't lift other people up as much because I don't know how, if I'm not committed enough. So, yeah, and they just, so that's basically how I got started. I've been getting mentored once a week. I'm still craving a coach for next year. I've been doing my little reach out because, like you, I like somebody keeping me on point, because I feel eventually I'm going to fall off without that.
Yeah, I mean, I think being accountable to somebody else is really great. I shared yesterday in my social media that I was so excited, and I still am, that I'm going back to therapy starting today, Friday.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So where you sit on the couch, real therapy.
Real therapy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, it's been so long. I mean, I have mentors, and I have my New York girlfriend keeps me very in line for the last 20 plus years.
Right.
So, and I get that, obviously, I get to do that with a lot of physicians. So let me ask you, how does it feel to work in the healthcare industry? Are you enjoying it? Like,
Well, you can
with
imagine.
doctors?
Yeah,
Mhm.
you can imagine I'm very excitable, right? So it's a new field in a sense of I just grew up with business people. I didn't grow up so much with um, doctors in my family, really. My brother-in-law, he's in the Navy, he's a practicing physician. But other than that, it was a new world for me. But they do have similar linear thinking.
Mhm.
They're smart, so they make me better at what I do in a
Mhm.
sense. And then I also now with mentorship, which is so important, I really understand little nuances that would have taken me years to kind of develop.
Mhm.
Because if you've ever been in a normal corporate environment where you're just, kind of a cog, I'm not against corporations. It's just like when you're more of a cog, it's hard to get that kind of attention. And
Mhm.
that's what also drew me here because I'm like, I like to accelerate things. So if it takes people 3 years to learn something, I want to do it in like a year and a half.
Right, right.
So
You
that's
want the
kind of,
accelerator program with everything. I totally get that for you, and I love that.
but I
But
also, expectations. I mean, I'm always talking to Chuck, the boss, and like, he's trying to talk me through. I'm like, it's okay. I understand.
Mhm.
I'm not, I know this is, if you're in something for the long haul and you really want to be good at what you're doing, then focus on that. So that's what I try to do.
So let's circle back to how we connected. We
All right.
connected on LinkedIn, right? So just share with the audience your thoughts and feelings about relationships, because when I think about LinkedIn, I think about relationships in business and how you really have to spend the time engaging with others. What has that been like for you, and why did you get into the LinkedIn? I'm going to throw the camera on me and talk through WeWork.
I have always seen LinkedIn as well. The reason here I thought LinkedIn would be better is because I wanted to go directly to a decision maker and connect with them there, read about them a little bit versus traditional cold call.
Right.
And I wanted to create an identity on LinkedIn that really, there's different pieces of LinkedIn. There's creating content, there's direct messaging, there's maybe automation to try to connect with more people. But everything you do should be trying to create a relationship, and especially with everyone locked down, I can't go canvas as much. I can, but in the beginning it was awkward because I didn't want to go in and with patients there and do all that. And LinkedIn is just the perfect avenue. And people do. I scheduled calls on LinkedIn. Doctors have gotten to me to do business, and I have a couple from there. And I just like to meet people. And there's no quicker way to meet people in the industry. I
Right.
mean, I have a ton of calls that I set up with wonderful people like you to try to like build my knowledge, build relationships so that so it's not, so it's more a referral thing from people versus me just trying to constantly sell myself like this person that you don't know. And plus, if you do a good profile, if you set yourself up good, there's a little bit of extra trust versus somebody without a picture, without a summary experience section. And I just
So
find
what
it the
made you
easiest.
decide to go? Because you're not like everybody else. This is why I kind
Oh.
of sought you out in there a little bit. I didn't get a direct message from you that said, let's see how we can help each other. One of the
I don't
words,
know what to say. I'm not a magic man there. Yeah.
right? It's so cheesy. Or let's connect and not have any. What I like to say, you really have to date somebody before you try to
Mhm.
close that deal, right?
Right.
So you have been very authentic, which is what
Mm.
I encourage my doctor clients, my clients in the media
Mm.
company that I own,
Mhm.
to really be more of yourself and to spend the time. So what was it that made you go, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to turn the camera on And I do think it was you at the office that we worked that you just were like, I'm just gonna put the camera on and
I
talk.
think, well, in my entrepreneur days, right before I did come here and I was doing marketing, I learned about lighting, I learned about microphones. So I got more comfortable on camera. I had this coach that was a lunatic with me, and it was actually like not comfortable because I started like trying to, when you're supposed to get on camera and be energized and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to be myself
Mhm.
and get out there and get out a decent message that is not wasting people's time and probably just having fun, because your content you put out is really just to be human to me. Maybe not to always just the how to how to hire somebody for your lease, or how to grow and expand. Sometimes that can be a little dry, but I want them to know, oh, hey, I saw you did this, and if you have something in common, it kind of gets the conversation started. So I really don't believe content, when I was creating it, it's just to kind of be out there and to be seen, in my industry, at least.
Well, you're doing a great job, Brian. So let's wrap this up by telling the audience what it is exactly that you do in your business. I mean, I think we've covered it in pieces
And
throughout. Let's weave it together and bring it to a place where if there was a physician that was looking for a location, you help them strategize and do lease negotiation and such, right?
that is the exactly lease negotiation, finding a new space, transitioning out of your office and finding someone new. And that is the basic gist of it. For doctors, medical groups,
And
we want to kind of be the point person. If you're going to open up a location or you need to renew your lease, we want to be those people that do it for free, and trust us enough that we can be the experts for you. So that's,
and speaking very frankly from somebody who knows, who ran medical practices,
right.
it is certainly, and I'm hoping that any physician, any dentist, anybody in the healthcare industry hears that part that is very important sometimes in this industry, that what you're doing is free,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
But really and truly such an incredible service, because as somebody who has come from New York and was taught how to negotiate from somebody that scared the hell out of me in my 20s, which benefited me in the long run, you really do have to know the market. It takes a lot of time. And when you're a physician, seeing patients, managing employees, malpractice, and all the other wonderful things that come along in healthcare, you really need an expert in the industry to handle this. So I'm not, Brian is not paying me to say this.
No payments, right?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll engage on one of my LinkedIn posts. That'll be, something wonderful in exchange for me saying that the services that that Health-Pro Realty Group provide is really and truly so beneficial. I've watched way too many bad deals go down, and way too many physicians think that this is something that they too can do. Not to say that you can't do it, but if you would, sometimes we have to take our own ego, we have to put it over here, and we have to focus on what we're good at. Like, I suck at accounting. So guess what I have? I have an accountant.
And it's very difficult with how much the market. I mean, honestly, I've gone back 5 times now, because not every landlord is different or is the same. So for me, I wouldn't want to do that. I would not do that in terms of my nature. Even my house that I'm selling, I wouldn't even think about doing that on my own. Like, there's just no way. And that's a totally different ball game. So, yeah, no, it's been a great experience, and it's rewarding because you want to do a great job, because, everybody that is in healthcare to me is a servant type of leader. So that's what I like to.
Well, everybody, we're going to have all of the information of how you can contact Brian. Definitely follow him on LinkedIn. I'm hoping to see more of his, healthcare regimen. I'm sure people are interested on how he stays so high energy all the time. I'm super happy and proud to know you. And thank you for all that you do and have done for our country. We certainly appreciate you and don't take that for granted.
Oh, you are so nice. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, everybody. Bye. Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving. So don't forget, if you mention that you have seen the show or listened to the podcast, Thai Technology, 3 months for free.